Good. I still gotta read this, right?
No, you
Yeah, you don't want to.
I don't have to read this if there's no public.
Yeah, no, since there's no public comment. I thought we were starting. Starting.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the Personnel Committee meeting. There is no public comment that anyone signed up for tonight. Any public? No? Going once, going twice? All right, no public comment. All right, we can get started. All right, first up, we'll have a benefits presentation.
Thank you. So this evening we have Mr. Pine with us from Conrad Siegel. He is going to present health trends review and prescription drug options.
Thank you, Tara. Good evening, everyone. With the new year upon us, typically this time of year, we'd like to look forward to the renewals that are coming up for the district as of July 1, and really the big items that impact those renewals, particularly the experience within the district on especially medical and prescription drug claims. So tonight's presentation was going to focus on how the district has been performing from a financial standpoint with respect to medical and prescription drug claims, a little look forward at what we anticipate for the projected costs for 26, 27, and then some 26, 27 renewal planning for some other benefits that renew at that time. So we're going to start off just to talk about the medical and prescription drug claims and trends that we've seen for the district. And the slide here really looks at the historic performance that we've seen for the district. This is kind of a 5-year fiscal year snapshot for the district, and you can see this chart looks at the average enrolled contract holders on the plan, the total adjusted medical and prescription drug claims for the plan, the per contract per month claim costs, and then the year-over-year trend. A couple things really jump out on this chart, particularly, back in 21, 22, just coming out of COVID, we saw some lower trends for the district, less than 1% coming out of COVID, and then about a 4% trend into 22, 23. What we've seen really the last 3 years has been certainly an elevated trend in terms of cost. It's not necessarily something that's unique to the district. We're seeing this in the marketplace right now. It's really part of the post-COVID world, and it's really a reflection of a few different things that are happening both on the medical and prescription drug side. But just to note here, what we've seen really over the last couple of years, we saw a 15.5% claim increase in 23, 24, about a 9% increase last year in 24, 25. And right now through the first quarter of 25, 26, we're seeing about a 12% increase on that PEPM number. We have a few new months of data that just came in from the insurance carrier. We almost have kind of that second quarter in. Those months were slightly better, but we're still probably looking at a number that's right around 10% in terms of a cost increase for 25, 26. So obviously, these numbers become important because as a self-funded district, the district's responsible for paying its claims and administrative fees. So as the health plan's claims increase, so do the district's costs overall on medical and prescription drug. One big driver of this, we've talked about it before a little bit here and there, are GLP-1s out in the prescription drug marketplace. And for those of you who may not be aware, GLP-1s are prescription drugs that have really exploded in the last couple years that treat both diabetes and anti-obesity or weight loss. And what we have here essentially are the last 4 plan years worth of GLP-1 costs for the district's health plan. Really, the items that we want to point out here are the fact that the costs have increased at a significant rate, well above the trend rates we looked at on the last slide. In fact, what we're seeing really, especially with respect to anti-obesity claims in the last couple of years, have been a 3-fold increase into 23, 24, another 3-fold increase into 24, 25, and then we're expecting about a 65% increase into 25, 26. Really what's happening out in the marketplace right now is a significant amount of members are beginning to utilize these medications that cost over $1,000 per month, so over $15,000 per year in a lot of occasions. And what the district has seen essentially has been growth from about 10 to 15 members who took these medications 3 or 4 years ago to now having over 100 members who are on these medications. Really, when you look at the actual total prescription drug claim utilization that we anticipate for this plan year, it's about 5.88 million, or an increase of about 600,000 versus the last plan year. When you look specifically at weight loss drugs or anti-obesity drugs, we're expecting 1.3 million in claims there versus 780,000 last year. So that anti-obesity increase being about 500,000 makes up almost all of the total increase that we're seeing on prescription drug costs in the last plan year. So given those numbers, really kind of what we do then is kind of look forward to the 26-27 budget projection. The way we anticipate or calculate this increase is to take 3 years worth of claims data, adjust it as necessary, trend it forward to what we anticipate costs to be for 26-27. And so what we have on this slide really looks at kind of your current 25-26 plan rates and says, what do we anticipate they need to increase by to cover the medical and prescription costs for 26-27. Right now, our initial look at this is approximately 15%. Again, really explainable because of the significant claim increases that we've seen and the fact that the rates that are in place right now for 25-26 were slightly subsidized from last year. So we're playing a little bit of catch up right now. So those two items really are driving out this 15% increase. Note that this number isn't final. We don't anticipate it to be final till March or April. And in the meantime, there are going to be some additional claims that come in. We are exploring other avenues for potential savings or cost mitigation where possible, including a medical RFP, which we'll be looking at. Okay. We also included a slide just to really put that 15% cost increase into perspective. The number's a little bit small on this slide, so I'll just really summarize them at a high level. And I don't want to get into complete specifics here, but what we wanted to really kind of stress was the fact that the actual cost increase to the rates themselves are approximately 15%. But because of how the district contracts are with the associations, each association, each group of employees are going to see a potential rate increase a little bit differently in 26-27. We have a few examples here. The Act 93 and Education Association employees are going to be going from paying 14.5% of premium to 15% of premium. So they're seeing that step up in addition to that 15% increase. So right now, a 15% increase to the rate translates to something closer to an 18 to 20% increase in what they're paying for coverage. Likewise, full-time support employees, that number is in the neighborhood of 19 to 20% as well. And for certain transportation employees, that number could be as high as 25 to 30%, given the 15% rate increase. Again, this is all based on kind of how those contracts are written up and what has been agreed upon, but understand that that essentially is what the 15% rate increase produces when we look at that and model it out through those rates.
Another question. Last year, we didn't pass all the increase on? Is that right?
We did not pass.
did
all
not.
of it on.
Okay. And now we're catching up, so we're
We're
paying.
playing a little bit of catch up. And part of that was due to the fact that the increase that we saw coming off, I think you looked at it a few slides ago, we saw such a substantial increase. The 1 year was a 15% rate increase. We wanted to use a little bit of the fund reserve to draw that down and level out the increases for employees.
And what's our fund reserve now?
It's been $9 million for health insurance.
It's always been that, or we keep it around that every year?
It was 12 last year. We used,
3 of it. Okay. And historically, has it always been in the 12 million range? Or?
yes.
And why is it so high?
Why is it what?
Why is it 12 million? Why?
So where we're at right now is about 6 months in claims.
Yeah, essentially, we're projecting about $18 million next year for 26-27. So a $9 million fund balance puts you right about 6 months. That's typically a recommended range for what would be appropriate reserve for medical and prescription drug. So when we saw, I think, the few good years of claims experience, part of the decision last year was, we know we're above that 6 month mark. Let's not pass on the full increase. We'll bring this down a little bit.
9 million would be a reasonable target. That's where we're at now.
Yep, I think we're in a tolerable stage right now, but it's part of the reason why when we're looking at this, we're assuming kind of that full 15% to cover the costs for 26, 27.
Thank you.
So I just thought, because I forgot that we didn't pass it on. So then what does that mean exactly, that we didn't pass it on? That if we don't eat it again, is it even more of an increase? Actually, that's.
So this
seen?
reflects, it's a good question. This
Yeah.
15% reflects kind of a little bit of that catch-up as well.
Okay.
So one of the things to keep in mind is that the trust, or the district's trend has really been in the range of 8 to 10% in the last couple of years. So that catch-up is approximately 5 or 6% overall. And so really what we're looking at is the 8 to 10% an increase to really cover the claims, and then about 6% for that catch-up as well. And that gets it right into that 15%.
But last year, that money came out of our budget to cover that cost. Correct? Right.
Came out of the fund
Came out of
balance.
the fund reserve,
The
yep.
fund, the
The
medical.
fund balance.
Medical
Bring it
fund
down. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So, again, that's the high-level information on what we're seeing initially here. There's going to be more to come in the coming months on the continual tracking of the budget increase, but we did want to highlight a few July 1, 2026 renewal planning items. First, I mentioned the medical request for proposal or market check that we'll be doing for medical vendor. The district has a contract right now with Independence Blue Cross. That is a multi-year contract that comes due at June 30, 2026. As a really due diligence here, and certainly understanding some of the claim trends we've seen and making sure we're getting the best financial offer for the district, we're going out to different vendors to do a market check, really to look at a few different things. First, the financial arrangement for your medical claims, to see if we can have an offer from a vendor who might be more willing to get aggressive with things like administrative fees or implementation credits. Additionally, to assess the network that currently is in place for members to utilize on the medical side, just to make sure it's a broad, expansive network and its discounts are advantageous for the plan. And then finally, just the different programs and services provided by the different medical TPAs. So there are a lot of new programs right now that can be beneficial from an employee health standpoint, which also can be beneficial from an overall cost standpoint as well. So we have a high-level timeline just looking at going out for this RFP to different vendors. We anticipate in the next month or two we'll have a little bit more information to share, looking to really kind of finalize the decision for 7/1/2026 near the end of March, beginning of April.
I do have a question going back to the GLP-1s.
Yes,
Just with the cost
yes.
of them, especially looking at the category of the anti-obesity drugs.
Yes.
Do we have any healthy living, healthy lifestyle programs that a member would have to partake in simultaneously or prior to going on to this medication?
So it's a good question. So there are some, I'll say, some strict rules that the PBMs impose with respect to how you can set up certain requirements to take these drugs. The minute you really kind of start putting too many hoops for an individual to jump through, the manufacturers will begin withholding rebates, which become kind of a substantial piece of the financial equation here. But there is one program that the district is looking at that isn't necessarily strenuous or I'll say an overly large ask from the member standpoint. Really, it's more of one to make sure members are engaged, that when they take these medications, they're having an engagement once per month with a health coach, going through weigh-ins, things like that. Right now, we're working with the PBM to understand what that looks like and what that would be anticipated to really entail. So we are kind of vetting that piece of it out. There's certainly a number of different options that you would have to mitigate costs with anti-obesity, but a lot of those would really have to go through bargaining. We want to make sure we can find something that can be advantageous both for the district and for members who are taking it.
Thank you.
Is the IU a part of that? The IU plan, is that part of getting insurance through them? Don't they-
We've been having conversations with the IU just to see what their plans look like, but that is not a part of the program that Mr. Pine is speaking about. That program is through CVS, through ArmsRx, through our current prescription provider, that they offer that plan for employees.
Just for a prescription, they don't do full health care.
So last item I'll just touch on is on the flexible spending account. The district offers a flexible spending account, which really is a tax advantageous account that members can take advantage of to pay healthcare and dependent care costs on a pre-tax basis. Currently, the administrator that the district works with and that the employees are enrolled with is Health Equity or WageWorks. Last couple of years have brought a lot of issues and problems from both kind of the district side and the member experience side with this vendor, including things like repetitive claim receipt submission issues, debit cards being locked out, not having a dedicated representative for the district. So over the last year, we've gone through kind of a high-level RFP or market check for FSA services. The district is going to be recommending that we move vendors as of July 1, 2026 from Health Equity to Insignia. Really, given the Insignia demo that we sat through, the fact that they offered a dedicated account manager for the district itself and offered, frankly, a financially advantageous proposal that saves about 30% of costs, kind of made this a fairly no-brainer for the district. So again, we anticipate that we will be asking for kind of the formal approval of the contract in the next month or two, but I wanted to brief the board and just give the update on that.
What is the cap that someone can put in an FSA for a year?
So the FSA, I don't quote me on this because it is an index number that goes up each year by the IRS. I believe it's right around $3,600. That's the health flexible spending account. And then there's also a dependent care piece to help pay for daycare expenses. That's $5,000 per year.
Is it per individual on the plan?
Yes. Okay. If there are no other questions, that's all I had on my end.
Thank you.
Thank
All right, I guess next up, we'll review job descriptions.
So tonight we have 11 job descriptions for review. Half of those job descriptions are meeting that 5-year mark where we're reviewing the job descriptions just to make changes to what those individuals are currently doing in their roles. The secretary to the director of transportation job description, that individual is retiring. As we have shared previously, whenever someone retires or resigns from a position, we will review the job description. So we are reviewing both the secretary to the director of transportation and the secretary to the Department of Transportation job description. You will also notice that the assistant data administrator, system support specialist, and network technician positions are up for review as well. Mr. Lazoch has joined the district as the director of technology, and he has reviewed all of those positions and their job descriptions. So does anyone have any questions?
All right, last up is the, I guess, review of the school calendar for next school year.
Okay, this is the proposed school calendar for 26-27 school year. If you just take a look at a few of the highlights, our first day of school would be August the 31st. That would because of Labor Day being on September 7th. Our last day of school would be June the 10th, giving us 180 student days, 192 days for staff. Gives us a 7-day, I believe, break during the winter recess. Only change structurally, I think, is the addition of an additional half day before Thanksgiving. You'll see the 23rd and the 24th are both marked as half-days. And with consultation with PEA, we decided that would be a great spot to facilitate our first trimester parent conferences. We needed some additional time to have those conferences done, so we thought that that was a good idea.
Just out of curiosity, why are we doing those as half days instead of full days? Or instead of one full student day and one full conference day, or something like that? I'm just curious.
I think just the commentary that it was, the kind of time slots that they fit in for that were effective, and it also just simply has us count as additional school days for.
So half-day still counts as a full day, right?
It does. And in Pennsylvania, it's an or, so you have 180 days or the 900 hours that you're going to complete through there. We are over in the hours, but just to make sure we get those days in. Any questions? I will add that this was done in consultation with the other two sending districts to the tech school, and so we're all pretty much on board. We have little slightly different end dates for each of the districts, but that happens every year.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Just before we officially, I guess, end, thank you, Mrs. Mosserman. I don't know if we'll see you at the next committee meeting, but thank you for what you've done for the district. It's been awesome seeing the recruitment efforts, seeing the district represented out and about trying to hire. That's no small task. So our time together has been relatively short here, but thank you for your service.
Thank you
And
so much.
wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Here, here. Yes,
Thank you.
You can always come back. You can come to all of me.
Hey, you used to come.
Sign language.
We'll see you in the next,
What's this?
next meeting.
Oh, yes. The next meeting for personnel is February 9th. Thank you.
Facilities and stuff.
Still blank.
Due diligence. All right, so tonight we are moving on to the Facilities Committee. And we will start with a presentation by ICS.
Thanks, of course, for having us again in. John Young, to remind you, Ryan Murphy, who you've seen a lot of, Scott Kennedy, who the district will see more of over time. Scott's got a long history in school facilities, history here at the district, history throughout the area, so another good asset to the team supporting the work that we're doing with the district. So very happy to have him here and grateful for your time. So we'll go back over the capital planning prioritization and the summary, just to talk about how we got to today, all throughout last year and throughout the spring, and when we were approved to go out and design and bid these projects, for which we have the results for 3 of them this evening. Talk about that, and then talk about projects themselves, the bid results. So as you recall, we came in and we had a rather large list of needs throughout the district over 10 years, big money numbers, big decisions that you kind of have to make in the long term. But for the summer projects, the priorities is always this warm, safe, dry idea. Keep your schools open, functioning, well-maintained learning environment, and defer where we can to kind of maintain costs and budgets for the district over time. The other priorities, of course, the lead times for the projects, to see if we can get them in the allotted times where we can get into the buildings for them. A roughly $6 million budget. We were at 5.6 or so, I think, when we went out. And these standalone projects that you can approve individually, depending upon where they come back in and what the budgets end up being. So going back, if you look at this rather large graphic on the right side here, this is that kind of simplified view of where the priorities for systems are across the district, right? So these are just the hard facts of the life expectancy for the different pieces of equipment, and it gives you kind of an overview of your portfolio. Again, this doesn't mean even if it's red, it has to be done tomorrow. It just gives you an idea over time where you need to be focusing some of your attention. And if you'll notice the boxes that are circled there in the light blue, that's where this first set of 2026 summer projects, that's where the scope is focused on those different areas. We're expecting to see them turn green in most cases as we complete these over the next 10 months or so. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, who handled the actual bidding, and he'll discuss the outcomes.
Yeah, so just to remind everyone kind of what those projects that John just mentioned were. The first group were the generator replacement. This relates to life safety, and this is in the Bedminster Elementary School as well as in West Rock Hill. So that is a generator removal and swap to a new generator. The next set we have is domestic hot water upgrades. That's in Diebler and Grass Elementary Schools. Third one is a temperature control update. These are the controllers that are currently outside of their life expectancy. So it's upgrading the controls in Siler and making them integrate into your overall building management system. We then have the boiler plant upgrade in West Rock Hill Elementary School. And finally, we have the roofing project at the Central Middle School.
May I ask what FF&E stands for
So for furniture.
in the last column?
Yeah, furniture, pictures, and equipment.
Perfect, thank you.
So what you're seeing on the screen here, we split the project into 4 work scopes combining like elements. So for example, work scope 1 was for all of the mechanical upgrades. So that was the boiler plant in West Rock Hill as well as the hot water upgrades. We invited 5 contractors out to bid. We got 2 bids, and we'll go through on the next slide how they compared to our original budget. The second work scope, number 2, this was for the electrical generator upgrades in those 2 elementary schools. Again, we sent this out to 5 contractors and got 2 bids. And finally, work scope 4, which was the controls package at Siler. We sent this out to 4 contractors and got 2 bids.
You know why the other people didn't respond, or did they not respond, or is it out of their?
So we had a few that actually showed up to the pre-bid meeting, which is where we invite everyone actually in this room and went over the scope. There was some, I'm sure, that just felt that they couldn't compete maybe with other people they saw there. There was some that might be, they had work. There wasn't anyone who gave us any response saying we don't want to work with the district or anything like that. So we think it was probably who else they saw in the room.
So they were here, they were part of the initial process, they just didn't?
Most of them, yes.
Okay.
So it was sent out to them?
Oh, yeah,
Open-
this was sent
Was
out
it
to
open bid? Like,
Huh?
I mean, were there other contractors that expressed an interest, or was this directed to just those 5 contractors?
This was sent out to these contractors, and anyone who reached out to us expressing interest was also invited.
All right, so it was an open bid, it was just no,
Yeah, it's through the cooperative purchasing CoStarz.
co-stars, all right, that was where my other question was going, right?
So on this sheet here, you'll see the one column on the left titled total. That was our original budget coming into this project cycle. And then the column to the right of that is bid results. So going through each of the scopes one by one, starting with scope 1, we originally had a budget of around $848,000 for this scope. The low bid came in at $777,000, and there is an alternate to put in a condensing boiler instead of a standard boiler. And what this means is it's essentially a higher efficiency boiler that came in around $19,000 additional. So it is our recommendation that we would proceed with the low bid, who is Hirschberg at $777,000, and with the $19,000 alternate for the condensing boiler. Based on our rough estimates, which can only be estimates at this time, that boiler will more than pay for itself over the life cycle based on energy savings you would get. Work scope 2, which was the generator replacement, had a original budget of $437,000. The low bid was BSI, which came in around $509,000. So we were a little over the budget on that line, but overall still under. So we recommend proceeding with BSI for the scope of work. Work scope 3 is for that roof replacement. Those bids are due later this week, so we will update everyone once we get those bid numbers in. The reason we gave them more time is because they have 5 alternates to present to you, which is 5 different roofing options at varying price levels. And because of the extent of essentially quoting a project 5 times for each of them, we gave them a little longer to return with quotes. And finally, we have the temperature controls in Siler Elementary School. Our original budget was $490,000, and the low bid of Southland came in at $383,000. So overall, right now, we are projected to be in under our original budget. Again, we still have the roofing bids to get back, but as of right now, from the 3 scopes we got back, we are overall under budget. Just looking ahead at some of the milestones we have coming up. So what's highlighted right here is where we are today. That's a summary of the bids 1, 2, and 4. If you elect to send these forward to the school board, we anticipate that meeting would likely happen on the 26th of January. Again, we'll have the roofing bids by then, and we'll share with Craig and the whole team when we get them in, so you have the most up-to-date information. But they will be presented to this committee on February 9th, with hopeful push to the school board on February 23rd. August 2026 is the substantial completion of all 4 work scopes that I listed today. And October 2026 is the final completion, so that's all paperwork and everything else finalized. That is all we had for you today. Are there any questions on anything that we presented?
Just remind me again what it means when we do bids through CoStars, is that what it is?
So what,
How does it work?
so what?
Yeah, it's CoStars, yeah, so it's cooperative purchasing with Department of General Services approved contracts. And it allows us to go out and negotiate directly with these bidders and de-scope them and have a lot more flexibility as we go to market.
So, say that again. It gives us more flexibility?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
So there's, the state-approved contracts enable school districts, everybody subject to the procurement laws. It enables them to go in and have more of a negotiated scope and a negotiated pricing, and we can go back and forth between the different bidders and kind of drive your pricing down, drive your scope, and cater it more to a specialized response and scope rather than being subject to the lowest responsible bidder, where you often get yourself into a little bit of a tangle. And it enables you to kind of work with that relationship a little bit more and still maintain the competitive environment. But you're allowed to go through that CoStars and just select someone to say, hey, we want to do a contract with you, that's the contract. But really, the spirit and essence of it is to maintain that competition with these state-approved vendors. And there's, many of them that are throughout the Commonwealth. They're approved to do any scope of work you really would want to do at school, separate from new construction or things like that.
So when we're talking about something like the roof, they all are agreeing that like this is in general what that would entail, and we don't have to like triple check to make sure they included nails.
Oh, yeah,
like
well,
stuff like
we
that.
triple check and all those things, absolutely. But it enables us to go through and have that kind of de-scope, right, and make sure that everybody's on the same page, and these numbers are very much real, and something's missing, right, then you can go back and work through that, and it ends up being a better product for you, rather than being under these, the very strict and stringent auspices of the gotchas, of the other world, so. And it also enables you to go back and say, hey, give me your best and final, it's highly competitive, things like that.
Do they get to see what other people have? Like, is it open? Okay.
Not
They
before,
do now.
not
Yeah.
before right now. Yeah, not before this ends up on your website.
Yeah. And then, how do they get that approval from the Department of General Services, stuff like that?
Yeah, DGS, so there's an application process. They have different work scopes they put out, and then you respond to those and meet the thresholds and the requirements of them, and then conceivably you get approved, and then you become a CoStar's approved vendor, because, that's in accordance with the contracts that the state makes.
Oh, so it's not by like company, it's by task?
Yeah, it is by companies.
Okay.
Right, but the DGS has different work scopes, right, so they have a roofing one, and they have
Right.
mechanical repairs and.
So if I was
you know,
approved for
fleet
working,
vehicles and
okay,
everything else, so you go through there, and it enables you to be part of this kind of, sync process.
right. So if I was approved for roofing, it doesn't automatically make me approved for vehicles then? Okay.
It does not.
Yep.
No, there's very specific contracts that you have to apply for, qualify for, go through their approval process, and then you become part of the network. And then at that point, conceivably, you can be directly hired for any of those things. But the spirit really is that you go through and compete these folks.
I get I mean, obviously I understand the gist because I deal with this, but I get the whole grand scheme of things, but I've seen too many CoStar vendors, and I guess right now it's too late in the process to even, like, the brakes on it, but I've seen too many CoStar vendors that come back with a higher price than what, like, an out to bid, and respectably towards other contractors that do have a lower bid and, perform the same amount of work. So I think, going forward, I definitely want to be cautious about using CoStars especially for bigger projects like this, because I've seen it get burned too many times with CoStars vendors who have promised the world for a certain price and just can't deliver. So, I'm just concerned about putting CoStar vendors as a selected bid number.
Right, and
Selected vendors, open bid it.
legitimate concern, and part of that is, part of the installation is obviously us doing those D-scopes, but beyond that, the contracting vehicle, being the AIA, tends to cover some of those loopholes that you would expect if you were signing like a company's paper, right? So there are a couple, levels of checks that we would go through to help ensure that you have a successful project, because we're not, the last thing we want to come back to you with is some sort of, change order or something that was missed or whatever. That doesn't help our relationship at all. So we have a pretty good history of, delivering these things as detailed, and we expect to continue that.
Did you check their CoStar numbers?
Yes.
Right. That's one of the things I've seen people put their CoStars in.
Yeah.
Back, and they're not CoStars.
The co-stars.
I can't say that I haven't seen that personally happen on a job project.
Yeah,
I've seen that personally happen on a job project.
You get a whole packet for each of these bids, documents, everything throughout the process, the contracts, scopes, and so forth. I think you'll be impressed. It's substantial.
Yes, I think that was like, it does save us some time that there's some things that we can assume are being investigated by the Department of General Services that we don't have to. Is that the benefit of it?
So it also allows you to reach out to people who you are comfortable working with. So say we worked with the district, we heard of who's done your previous projects, who you've had good experience with, who you haven't had good experience with, and we selected who we invited based on kind of that feedback. So part of the concern with maybe getting a vendor who is in over their head or hasn't given you the attention that you would like in the past is that we are able to, again, everyone approved by CoStars, target those who have done good work for you and get them to the table to bid on these projects.
Okay. So if we'd have done like open bid, anyone could have come and we would have had to like explain why we didn't use 4 people, I guess.
But you have to use
Yeah.
the low bid.
Oh, all right. Okay, got it. So we don't want to get saddled with someone we aren't happy with. Okay, thank you.
There's no exception to the no bid, low bid.
even if we judge the
Yeah,
bid.
As of right now, each of the low bidders that we're recommending, we feel are qualified.
No, I understand
Yeah,
that, but
no,
in an open bid process.
Yeah, you could choose who you wanted to. If you wanted to pay a premium for someone, you said, hey, all the roofs in the district are, particular manufacturer, particular
Right.
installer, and it's, some negligible amount, you could go back to them and ask them directly to match that price. So they say, hey, I can't, that's the best I can do. You could make a judgment call to use them.
And that's for co-stars.
Correct.
How about open bid?
Do not.
Even if you judge that they're not capable of doing it?
You would have to find some reason to disqualify them on merit. They did not meet some of the criteria that was part of your bid. Very difficult to do. Yeah, you'd be subject to them challenging that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just have a question on the two generator replacements at Bedminster and West Rock Hill. Are they recommended just based on age? Like, how many hours are currently on those generators? Is the PM that we're doing on them, are they suggesting, we're at that point where we're putting money into them, that it's cheaper to just replace them?
So one of them is the age and the run times that have been tallied up against those pieces of equipment, but there is a work tag history that goes along with those pieces as well. So it was substantiated not only by ICS, but by the history we've seen through the preventative maintenance schedule to show that they were eligible for replacement.
Yeah, and that's generally been the case, right? We start with those numbers, like, hey, this is the age of it. That's like a starting point for, these are the places we need to look. It's not the end, right? And then going back to those priorities, like, hey, well, what's gonna keep you out of school? Right? Or what's gonna put you in the news? Or what's gonna create an unsafe environment? And that's really the prioritization part of it. Yeah, none of it is, hey, it's this age, we got money, let's do it. Like, there's priorities on there, and they're all refined based upon our, deep interaction with the administration, deep interaction with Mr. Bramble, getting to where the priorities are and, meeting that criteria.
And just to add to that, I'm sorry, but like John had stated one time in one of our past meetings, this was just a jump off for the conversation. Some of the things in red are also things that we have taken care of and made them exist beyond their recommended shelf life because of the preventative maintenance schedule and the work that the skilled maintenance guys that we have on staff have put in to keep all these things running well beyond what the industry says, what they should last. So this starts the conversation. We discuss how they're performing and do we have a history of problems with them. If we have something that is performing just as fine today, and even though it is a little long in the tooth, we might put it off and do something that needs it now versus knowing that that will go on a little longer.
Thank you.
So with that said, then the central middle school roof, looking at it, you said has active roof leaks. It's not something that we can say, oh.
That's something we didn't feel confident letting it go longer. It was something that when it was discussed, we all agreed that, hey, this is something that needs to be addressed sooner than later.
What kind of roof is central?
So retrofit coating on
Yeah,
top of it.
I was gonna
this
say
thing.
that was gonna
So you
coated
had a
roof.
coating, I believe, was it 2010?
2015 installed, 97 recoded, 2015.
But what's the base coat? What was the base of that before the recoating?
I want to say PVC, but I got to double check. We did a core with the documents. So I'll double check the documents.
All right. Anything else? Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, we have obsolete items for review. We'll just give both of them, Guth Elementary School and the high school.
Mr. Kaufman, before we move on, is it okay if we take those items to the board for approval?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Wait, hold on. Who's on facility? I'm thrown off because I don't remember who's on the committee.
On Nathaniel, Brian, and yourself.
Yes. You guys all agree?
Right.
We could take consensus because we're not at 4. Yeah.
You think you have consensus? Is that you guys?
Yes, consensus. Yeah, I got it. You guys are good? I think they're discussing. Good? You guys are good? All right. Sure, take it to the board.
Thank you.
All right, now moving on to Gutham High School.
Yeah, we just have two obsolete items for the board's review and approval this month at Guth Elementary School. We have some old metal tables, 3 of them, that will be scrapped. And then we have a wooden newspaper rack at the high school coming out of the library that will go to public surplus.
Perfect. All right, and with that, I don't believe there's any public comment, so the next Facilities Committee meeting is scheduled for February 9th, 2026. And moving on.
Moving right along to finance. Obviously, no public comment again. So we'll dive right in. And Sean, you want to go through all the different contracts you have up for review?
Yes, thank you, sir. We will start tonight with contracts. First contract is LearnWell for educational services for a student identified as 2026-14 for this school year. Cost is $61.55 per hour. And just for the board's review, LearnWell contracts are put in place for students who are placed in a medical institution, and then LearnWell goes in and provides the education which is required by law to provide those students while they're in the medical facility. And those medical facilities most likely are outside of the school district, somewhere in the region. So it becomes very difficult for the district to send staff to those places for the required time. So we use LearnWell for those services, and really they are at a reasonable cost compared to what we could send a teacher out of the building, or a substitute teacher, for a period of time, plus travel costs and so forth. So we've been using LearnWell for a number of years. The second contract is Concord Theatricals. This is for the musical this spring at the high school. The cost is $5,412.86, and that's paid through the theater program. I have 2 Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs contracts. The first is for North Middle School. It's for the 6th grade field trip. And the second one is for the high school, and it is for the PACE program to go to Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. And the PACE program is practical academics and community education. It is a program at the high school that includes both autistic support and life skills students. That is a new acronym.
Thank you for clarifying the acronym.
Yeah, that's a new acronym within the last.
Co-stars, we gotta.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Add that to the list.
As a requirement, anytime there's a new acronym,
Yeah.
We got.
you have to let us know.
Gotta let you know.
Otherwise, people are like, "Oh, I should
Yeah.
know that one."
It was actually new to me, because I said to my
Okay.
What's that?
administrative
Sure, it's been
assistant,
used
"What is
before."
PACE?" And so she found out what PACE is.
You can always ask them, because I ask them over and over again. Always ask, because I'm guaranteed you don't remember.
Moving on to letter E, Theater World. This is the backdrop rental for the spring show at the South Middle School, coming up in March. Cost is $1,023.18, and again, paid through the student theater program at that school. Moving on, F is Lincoln. This is for next school year. This is the Advanced Assessment Systems. This software license agreement renewal for next school year, $132,928. Linkit is used as the data warehouse management system analysis, and it is also home of our common benchmark assessments through K through 12. So that's what we use Linkit for.
So for that one, do we use everything that Lincoln provides, or are we using part of it, or is there any kind of structure to this? Sometimes we have software where we're not utilize everything, or we want to make sure that.
Yeah, we only
We know how
purchase the
critical it
parts
is.
that we're using.
Okay, so
So you
there's
can-
more to Lincoln if you wanted to pay for it.
Yeah, it has à la carte, so you can say, hey, I just want the benchmarks, I want this. So we pay for what we use.
What we're using. Thank you.
These are all the components that are.
Okay. The next one's letter G, Seesaw Learning Incorporated, online student portfolio system that shares content with parents when they post to their learning journal. This is a 3-year contract, $19,570 per year, and the total is listed there. This is actually a price decrease from the current contract we're under. And this one is used in elementary schools as the student's online learning portfolio, and parents are able to view this system.
Yes, it's the canvas of elementary school,
Is there a reason we don't just use Canvas?
Yeah.
because Seesaw is better.
Yeah.
Is there a reason we don't just use Seesaw and not Canvas?
Because Seesaw is really for just elementary.
Okay.
Good question. Doesn't sound.
I've had kids in both, and I always wondered, why do we have two different portals?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sean, quick question, sorry, just to go back to F, where it says, the parentheses, 129,000, that's how much we paid last year?
Yes, this
Or
is
this
the
current year, and then the 132 is what we're paying next year,
Next
so the
year.
increase, got it,
Correct.
thank you.
Yeah, the LY means that's what we're doing
Current.
now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm sorry, we did Seesaw. Letter H is Edmentum, Apex Learning Courses, contract September 26 through 27, $5,897. And this is for credit recovery for students. Also, and it's also for the Twilight courses, for the recovery there also. Okay? I and J are both Imagine Learning. I is the instructional services teaching semester courses, July of 26 to July of 27, $300 per course. This is for our cyber education for our secondary students. And then J is the same, but it is for our cyber education for our elementary students.
Hey, why is there such a difference, or? Oh, per semester course.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
missed that.
the secondary is per course,
Course.
the elementary is per everything that the elementary student needs for the time frame. So that would be more than one.
So that's where we're paying, so if a not our charge cyber school, they get from us, we're paying $2,000 to send our kids to we're paying $15,000 to send them
Correct.
to another one.
Correct.
So if we brought that student back, theoretically, we could send them to this, an elementary student.
And save considerable funding.
So there's no distinction what year you're in when you pay for the cyber program outside of, it's the same for any student?
Correct.
13?
It only denotes
Special ed.
or regular.
Right. So we're losing $12,000 right off of for every.
Yeah.
That's another incentive to keep bringing them back, right? Should pay them.
100%.
Should pay them a little bit of that to come
Yeah.
back.
Bonus.
A little incentive. We make it up.
We still come out on top.
Ugh, it's so
A letter
frustrating.
K is Sweet Stevens, Katz and Williams. This is our special education legal counsel, and every year they send a letter with their rates for the next year. Their rates will be $210 per hour for attorneys for routine legal matters. That's up from $200 currently. And their rates for non-routine matters are $230 per hour. That's up from $220. And then it also provides the legal assistant rates of $160 per hour. And letter L is a settlement agreement for a student identified as 202615. And the last contract I have is First Class Entertainment for DJ services for a dance at Central Middle School in February. Cost is $450, and that is student paid. That's it for contracts.
Okay, moving along to student anything anyone wants to bring up?
No.
Sorry about that. Student activity accounts.
All right, we have 4 student activity accounts for approval from the board. We have high school class of 2029, which is a new student activity club. We have the high school, High School Club America, which is also new. We have high school She's the First Club, which is also new, and they're requesting an account. And then we have also at the high school Rams for Vets Club, and that is a new club also requesting an account. There is a little brief description of each in your documentation.
Any questions? Moving right along. All right. How many total clubs do we have now? Tough question.
Roughly?
No, you don't have to randomly guess, it's fine.
It's a lot.
It's good, but we're adding 3 new.
100?
Quite a few.
4 new ones, basically.
Great to see the Rams for Vets. I was.
4 new.
Of course, you lost
Nice to
the
see.
a lot.
2025 club is dropping out.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
it's not really.
One.
We'll go there.
We
Yeah,
gained
we're-
2029.
Okay, moving on to the request for sale from the repository list.
Yes, so
We
we
saw that.
received a letter which we provided you from the county, from the Tax Claim Bureau, and there is a property which has failed to sell during the upsale process or the judicial sale process held by the county. And those processes are done for properties that are delinquent in taxes and that the county cannot really collect it at all. So a time period goes by, and then the properties go up for sale. For properties that don't sell through either of those 2 processes, they go into the repository of unsold properties.
There is such a-
And then the only way to come out of there, and when they're in the repository, they are not generating any tax revenue
Right.
for any of the county, township, or
Sure.
school district. So basically, they're kind of a dead property. They're in the repository, and anyone can go and make a bid on those properties that are in the repository. It's amazing. I mean, there's things that happen.
any
in
You never even know about that.
Yeah, but
yeah. So they did receive a bid on this piece of property parcel, and they received a bid of $6,000. The bidder's name is there. The back taxes that are owed on this property are $359.10.
What kind of property is it? I can look it up, but
No, you go.
yeah,
It's
but,
what-
You and I.
Yeah,
6,000.
6001.
Well, obviously, somebody
So-
knows the process that I didn't.
So this piece of property is 4,880 square feet. It's a tenth of an acre. Its assessed land value is $120. Estimated market value of $1,900. It's located at Rich Hill Road and Massey Road, West Rock Hill Township. It is a very small, as .10 of an acre piece of land, and it is right on the corner of 2 roads coming together.
So you can't build.
There's a telephone pole right through the middle of it. I have pictures. I have pictures of it. I'm happy to show you.
No, I'm not interested.
But really, really, the properties basically, they stay in there and they're kind of dead until they come out of the repository. And in my 11, almost 11 years here, this is the first one.
Okay, that was my
we've
next
had.
question. Okay. And do we have to vote on this, or?
They ask for your approval as a taxing body, but they basically say in their letter that you can't really say no unless you have a really good reason.
I guess we have consensus on that.
Yeah.
And we'll get those back taxes then? Is that what that means?
So yeah, we
350.
Yeah.
And that's
and
since
then it'll go,
2000.
then the best part is then the property goes back on the tax roll.
Yes.
And it starts generating tax revenue
Or
for
the
the,
value of it isn't going to generate much. But if the back taxes are since 2006,
yeah, that's what it's, the oldest year of delinquent is 2006.
.1 of an acre, what's the,
yeah, but I thought they'd have to pay all the back taxes.
That might be all the back taxes.
Yeah.
One of an acre.
Total amount of,
Yeah.
total amount is $359.
That's
that
20 years
sounds
of back
about-
taxes,
yeah.
right?
Just saying, yeah.
All right, we'll take it.
give me that list.
Yeah, Tay.
Anything else?
That's,
All right.
that's all the
Next-
fun I have for you tonight.
Yeah, that was it. I was wondering, and that was my first question. It's like, do these happen all the time?
No.
Everything's, but now I understand that some property is useless. All right, the next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for February 9th, 2020.